think most of you know me, but for those who don't know, Danielle. And I've been a member missionary here at People of Hope. I don't know precisely how long. I think more than 15, less than 20. I'm not real sure the specific date. Tonight I wanted to share with you a love letter to all of you. But first, I thought, before sharing my love letter, I thought that I would just let you know a little bit of my background and how it is that I came to begin worshiping here at People of Hope. This is a place that I absolutely was not looking for. I grew up in a really, really small town in Illinois, and therefore attended a really, really small Lutheran church. Half the congregation was my family, my grandparents, all my aunts and uncles, and all my cousins. We used really old, beat-up green LBWs. If you grew up in an older Lutheran church, you know that was the hymnal and the liturgy that we would follow each Sunday. I went to church because I had to, not necessarily because I really enjoyed it. I didn't find the songs all that easy to understand, the lyrics, the words to the songs didn't make any sense. The things that we were all reciting together didn't really make a lot of sense. My favorite part, if I'm perfectly honest, was the stained glass windows. They were really just beautiful. You know, it was the one thing you could really look at and enjoy during this hour-long service. And when you're a little girl, I think some little girls, maybe not all little girls, but I was one of them, always played with Barbies and daydreamed of when I would get married. And part of that daydream was picturing my wedding photos with those beautiful stained glass windows in the background. And so that really drove some of the stupid decisions that I made in the years to come. Went to college, didn't really go to church, and then went to grad school in Michigan and found a church I really enjoyed and actually got my first glimpse of what a church community really was about. And then eventually in 1999, I settled here in Rochester and began a career at Mayo Clinic. And I started my church shopping in earnest. And I was just so young and naive and pretty confident in myself that I would find Mr. Right any second. So at the top of my church shopping list was beautiful stained glass windows. Yeah. And as I'm shopping around, you know, unfortunately, the Lutheran churches in Rochester that have the nicest stained glass windows are of a different denomination flavor, and their values absolutely do not align with my own. So I had to compromise, and I joined a church. Didn't really have great windows. I went through their new member classes and was allowed to join, and I attended the worship, which I think is different than saying I worshiped. I stood like a robot, like all the other robots, to shake hands when we shared the peace. No one really greeted me, no one ever really welcomed me, and as a shy introvert, it was quite painful to look around and see so many couples and so many families with children receive a lot of warm welcome. And being there alone felt even more lonely. So I stopped going to that church, and I continued my shopping. One Sunday I stumbled into this kind of newer church. They had just started worshiping in a little school gymnasium. And Dang it, they were so nice. They were so super sweet. People really went out of their way to welcome me. The songs were really beautiful. They were easy to sing along to, even for somebody that is a horrible singer. Um, but first of all, there were no windows at all, much less stained glass windows. And the hum of the gymnasium lights just drove me batty. So moving on, I didn't go back. Not proud to say that, but this is just the immaturity of where I was in life at that time. So checked out another church in town. I don't remember what their windows were like. If they had any, I don't know. It wasn't very impressive. They had the LBWs, and part of me kind of was enjoying that in that moment. Like, it just felt a little bit nostalgic, and for someone who felt a little bit homesick, that familiarity of that reciting the liturgy together seemed nice for about a minute. And so I went through the new member classes, and I was matched up with the only other token single young woman in the whole church. She was to be my shepherd, and she never contacted me. I was given her name, she was given my name, but she never reached out. And on the day of New Member Sunday, she didn't come. So, that just kind of left a little sour taste in my mouth. And so time went on, and I gradually stopped going to attend worship there as well. And then I had heard that that little church that met in the school gym had built their own building. I thought, what the heck? I will check it out. And I walked into this place, and for the first time, I really felt at home. I felt welcomed and appreciated and noticed. The songs were so beautiful and so easy to understand and follow. The sharing of the piece wasn't just the robotic, meaningless, forgive me, it took forever. It took me off guard how long that took. But it was so sincere and authentic. That's what really struck me. And the sermon didn't sound like this prepared speech. Yes, the pastor was speaking to all of us, but it felt like he was only talking to me. And when I left, as most of us new people do, maybe all of us introverts do, the benediction and you're out the door. And that pastor followed me out to make sure that he had introduced himself to me, which had never happened in all of the churches I had visited. And so I kept returning, and people started to notice me and ask and get to know me and ask questions. And so that brings me to my love letter. So, dear people of hope, thank you for all of the ways that you have welcomed me, a shy introvert who has developed into a public speaker here occasionally. Thank you for allowing me to come to worship here for so many years, all by myself, and never once has ever felt alone. On behalf of all of the single people, all of the people who worship here, who arrive in their vehicle by themselves, who are widowed, divorced, single, married, but their partner doesn't worship here. Thank you for welcoming all of us. Thank you for welcoming people in wheelchairs, people with disabilities, people with mental illness, people like my gay brother. God, I wish he lived closer. But it's such a good feeling to know that if my brother walked through these doors to worship, that you would love him as much as you love his straight sister. Yeah. People of Hope, thank you for being real, down to earth, authentic, sincere, screw ups, imperfect. Thank you for every typo in the bulletin. Thank you for slides in the PowerPoint that are out of order, for a song that's missing. Thank you for all of that, because not a single one of us is perfect. And in all of those years of church shopping, I just felt as though it was an expectation to arrive kind of put together. But we are all imperfect people, and we are all loved unconditionally and saved by Christ, no matter what we screw up. So thank you. People of Hope, I love you for your commitment to mission and service. I love that everything we name has to have mission in it. I mean, it's a little ridiculous, but I love you for it. I love that we come on Sunday morning excited to find out what it is we can get involved in, ways that we can contribute, instead of showing up on Sunday and expecting to find out, what are you going to do for me? What do you have to offer me in this church? Right? We come here enthusiastic to share God's love, to give back. That's our expression of gratitude for this gift of life God has given to us. So thank you. People of Hope, I also love you that we do not have those LBW books. I love that we are faithful to our Lutheran traditions in our order of worship, but we don't have to be tied to it either. We get to be a little bit creative. I find that for my head and heart to be fully engaged in prayer, I need a little peace and quiet and space for that. If I am reciting words too often, I'm only using a small portion of my brain, and it's the part of my brain that is anxious about following the cadence of all of your voices. And I find myself not fully engaged in prayer and worship. And so thank you for allowing our worship time together to be one where there is space for that. Where people with bad voices can still kind of follow the tune. People of Hope, I also love you that after lots of advice about meeting a man at grocery store or the library or the internet, all kinds of places, I finally met my husband here at People of Hope. And our faith life here with all of you is so important to us. There are no stained glass windows here, so we elected to get married with in the most beautiful sanctuary where windows like that, adornments like that aren't necessary. Got to get married down at Goodard Village, which is just a very, very special place. So thank you for allowing me to meet my husband at church. And lastly, people of Hope, I love you that we do not have stained glass windows. Clearly I have matured and my brain has fully developed, and I am so grateful that what matters here is not any of those superficial adornments. What matters here are all of you, the people of Hope. So, with all my love, sincerely, Danielle.